Hey, it's James from Support the Scene here, and I'm hanging out with Rose.
Hey.
Rose, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do and the many things you do.
Where do I start? Well, you know my name. I'm Rose. And I'm a vocalist. I'm the lead singer of Fallen Stars, which you know as you're in the band with me. Shocker, I know.
Oh, we thought Danny was the lead singer.
Yeah, definitely, right? Yeah. You know, back behind the kit.
Yeah.
Sounding good back there.
I just never look at him, so...
He shows a lot of skin, you know, those toms and the...
Yeah.
Well, I can be in the show.
Yeah, you can. And we're also here with Eli, which is our son. Hey. Are you watching some YouTube and having some chips? Mm-hmm. Good time?
Yeah.
What's your favorite music, Eli?
My favorite music is Mario.
Yeah, Mario's the best.
Yeah, that Mario music is iconic.
And my favorite is Michael Myers.
Well, I wouldn't say he's exactly a singer.
Well, no, the theme song for Halloween is...
Well, I'm a drummer.
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are.
Just like your grandpa, which is Rose's dad, and that's how you kind of got into music. I mean,
initially.
Everyone in your family's pretty musical. I mean, I just heard your brother Jimmy sing last night. He sent me a video clip of him singing and playing guitar.
Oh, awesome!
And first time I really heard him really sing, and I was quite impressed.
Yeah, I find all of my siblings have a great voice and a great musical ear, and especially when it comes to guitar and percussion specifically, which is kind of what they like to jam on. Yeah,
your dad's been around the scene when he was...
Oh gosh, when he was like 19, in his early 20s, this is back in the, 60s or 70s. He was born in early 50s, so...
Everyone in the audience can do the math.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it for you. I could, but I'm not going to. Yeah, he kind of grew up in Winnipeg and started there before coming out to Vancouver, and he was like a big part of the music scene out here back when Heart was a bar band in New West.
Yeah. There's a few of our older friends that all share war tales of New West and its glory days, and tons of cool bars out there. And I like that there's more of a scene coming out right now. I know Rob and the crew over there are working hard for it.
Yeah,
Suna's
working really hard, as is Bullies. I mean, they're putting on shows there.
Yeah.
Quite often now.
And there's a drag show coming up this weekend there, actually, at Bullies.
I'm excited.
Yeah, shout out to Tommy Horror, or just going by Tommy now, I think. Yeah, she hosted the Fallen Fest.
Yeah, she was amazing and hilarious.
Yeah. I give anyone the props who can walk up the Bully stairs or the hill to Bullies in 6-inch latex heels.
Yeah, that is a skill.
Yeah,
definitely.
But coming round back, you're an actress.
Yes, I'm also a beginner actress. I'm just kind of starting out, doing a little bit of background and small little roles that I can find here and there. Eventually, hopefully it'll pick up some more. Yeah,
but you got to do a cool fight scene kind of thing.
Yeah, I can't talk too much about it as we're still, the
NDA.
Yeah, NDA post-production, but I was a badass fighter, and that was really cool to do. I did 4 days worth of martial arts training.
Yeah, I ended up bumping into online a couple of people that worked on the project, and they have someone was looking for a boom op, and I cycled through their photos, and there was a photo of the crew with you and everything, and I was like, oh hey, I can totally do this gig. I know people.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
No, it's been a amazing project to work on. Not only did I get to act in it, but I also got to be the second AC on set, which is assistant camera. For anybody who doesn't know, I basically hang out and run errands for the camera operators.
Well, yeah, and it's crazy how big all the cogs turn in Vancouver, especially with the film. How every person has their job, and it's it's the same thing in a band. Everyone's got to pull your weight.
Yeah. Yeah, when you have skills to offer, why not offer them? Especially when it gives you, doors to other opportunities.
Well, and the nice thing with the film industry in Vancouver is you're able to, like, let's say you want to start directing, and so you're like, hey, I can AD a student film.
Yeah.
And they're looking for, an AD or a cam op. And you're like, I've never cam opped before on something other than just things that you do.
Yeah.
And you end up doing it and seeing, you really have ability to play around with a lot of things there.
Yeah, you can kind of get some real life field experience while building up your resume without necessarily having to pay thousands of dollars in school for it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and as much as I loved going to college, I don't know if it was a complete necessity for the stuff that...
Yeah, I mean, college isn't always a necessity in every field. However, if you're learning something through the experience, even that little bit, it makes it worth it.
Exactly.
Because you might not have necessarily picked up on that skill set or that little bit of knowledge that could make a huge difference in your career down the road if you hadn't gone through that opportunity. So there's good and bad, of course.
Yeah, exactly. From working in music and film, do you think they go hand in hand in Vancouver?
Oh, definitely. I mean, the entertainment industry is called the entertainment industry as a whole, which includes, movies and sound, and, graphic artists, and every job in between. I think they definitely all go hand in hand.
Yeah, very, very true. I mean, there's a lot of film people that are doing music videos of all ethnicities around town.
Yes.
And I always... it's funny because there seems to be a niche for Punjabi music videos.
Yeah.
And Bollywood style music videos around Vancouver, which I never see shot, because you'll go around the streets and you'll see Supernatural, or you'll see some of the larger outside sets, but I guess a lot of these are inside sets, or
more in the clubs or venues, conference halls,
or big green screen rooms. It's just,
I mean, there's so many film studios in and around Vancouver, private and otherwise.
I didn't even know. I just assumed there was only like the big ones and things like that, but there's so many popping up.
There's like constantly, I'll walk through Gastown or East Van even, and you'll see a little pop-up shop and it's a film studio, and they've got a little tiny sign outside that basically says that they're a rent by the hour or by the project film studio.
Yeah, it's one of the things you see a lot of less real estate or spaces around downtown that are doing office rentals. They're doing more photography rentals. They're doing more studio rentals. Sometimes supplying gear, a lot of times not, but just even having the space. And that is one thing we fight for in Vancouver all the time, is space.
Yes, absolutely.
I just saw someone that was looking for a haunted basement, and
Cool.
when you think about it, trying to shoot all these different locations, and you need access to a bunch of things. So if you have a creepy, even just a place with a brick wall that you can dress up to make look like a creepy basement.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much any parking garage that you walk into in Vancouver, whether it's an upscale building or one that's more run down, there's a capability of making it look like some creepy basement.
Exactly. But
or something, a little bit more upscale too.
But especially with like the run and gun indie kind of films here, we have more options where we don't have to worry about liability and renting spaces and things like that. You can go to a garage and film your thing late at night, and a security guard may be like, hey, just don't make a lot of noise and you're all good.
Yeah. And of course there's websites and databases around Vancouver that have just lists of different kinds of locations.
True.
Rent or trade or whatever the opportunity indie, maybe.
True, but I would think in a mid-level to high-level, like the film you did, locations would be harder to get because you'd have to rent, costs come in. You'd have to make sure everyone's insured, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, all the proper safety precautions are in place. You have to have, a little bit of a budget, but that's where, funding and, hopefully you've got a great producer on board who's really great at, making everything come together.
Yeah.
Which luckily we did, especially on that project. And funny enough that you mentioned a lot of directors and people that work in film are starting to cross over and do music videos because that is an aspect of film. You and Mac, the person that is producing the film that I was on, he also just recently did a whole bunch of music videos, and one in particular with an Asian artist. And
that's awesome.
It's incredibly shot. The visuals that I've seen, little snapshots on Instagram, are just beautiful.
That's great. I find it's great that you have all these the talent in Vancouver, especially from the film talent now that is moving over, crossing over because they're realizing how much of a rich music culture we have in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And there's a big disconnect between Vancouver musicians and Vancouver filmmakers that we here at Support the Scene are trying to connect.
Yeah.
We're trying to be like, if you want that amazing music video, there's a lot of people out there that can make it happen. You don't have to go to a big company or something that's going to charge you $20,000 for a video.
Exactly.
You can still do indie to mid-level budget shoots. I mean,
well, one of the things I find great about that is the online social media networks in Vancouver, like the Facebook groups and that sort of thing, are generally very, very supportive, whether you're new and you're just asking questions or you've got more experience. Obviously, there's haters in every group and people that bring negativity into the trade, but there's a lot more people that are there to help and support and, produce opportunities too, projects that they're working on, and network with some new people that you wouldn't have met otherwise, just like out in a club in Vancouver or just talking to the handful of friends that you have.
Well, exactly, and that's one of the things I think rounds us back to. I've met more people on Instagram, being able to do things like, hey, you have a really cool art page, could you do some art for a band, or could you make a poster? On the flip side, I've been contacted by a lot of people being like, hey, I really like your photos, are you in Vancouver? Even though it says on my thing Vancouver.
Well, a lot of bands as well as photographers travel, right?
Yeah, well, exactly, right? And
ask.
Yeah, and so you end up using social media in a way to not only connect with fans and stuff as it's intended, you meet professionals. I mean, it's way better than something like LinkedIn.
Which is a little bit more old school nowadays. It's still used, it's actively used, but it's generally used in the 35 plus blue collar job, everyday field work kind of industries where it's not so much used and utilized in the entertainment industry on a creative level. Yeah. Maybe more in the accounting and the back ends and that sort of thing. I'm not sure. I haven't looked into it myself personally, but even it's kind of an older platform.
Yeah, even with that, I mean, I was just talking with someone who was hiring for office PAs kind of stuff, and they use a site which I've never even heard of, and it was something where you go put your resume up on it, and it's an easy accessibility where it's all online. So if you're applying to a whole bunch of different places,
right.
It's like bing, bang, boom. It's almost like an online Dropbox kind of thing, but made specifically for your resumes,
I've heard
supporting
of
documents.
Similar sites in different, sort of fields.
I
know the makeup industry has something like that.
Well, exactly, and because a lot of the thing around town is the word of mouth. You end up working with people that you've worked with before, and then they'll hire you on the next project and things like that.
Yeah, somebody who knows somebody, which is a great way to network, but it isn't the only way.
Yeah, exactly. Do you find that where do you want to take it next? Are you kind of focused more on music? Are you focusing on acting? What are your short-term and long-term goals?
Well, it's kind of, Some would say it's a little all over the place, but I don't necessarily see it that way. I've been very focused lately on both music and acting, kind of side by side together. I've been focusing a little bit more on the music lately, just because those have been the opportunities that have been presented to me. I've been working on the back end, doing training and just like my own cold reads and that sort of thing at home to get my, acting up to snuff where I like it to be. Start working on projects to produce a, good quality demo reel. But I'd say equally, I'm working on both, especially with my agent.
Do you find drop-in workshops would be a benefit, or do you think they're more just used for networking rather than those drop-in audition classes?
Yeah.
From someone who's been to a lot of auditions as well.
Yeah. And a lot of those classes too, actually.
Yeah, and do you find it's more just of a thing serious actors take, or do you think it's kind of like a weekend hobby band where it's I'm still taking these classes just to hang out and be in the thing?
Yeah, well, you definitely see a mixed bag of people when you go into these classes. Some people are there to take it more seriously and to just constantly keep active with their acting. It's not necessarily about learning new skills. It's refining your old ones. And any opportunity to network and work on your skills, because nobody's perfect, I see as a benefit to somebody's career. But if you're there to just kind of goof off and not be super serious, that's okay too, as long as you're not distracting from the people who are there to be more serious. It's enjoy, have fun. That's pretty much number one, especially in the entertainment industry. You want to enjoy what you're doing. Otherwise, who else is going to enjoy what you're doing if you're not enjoying it? It reads through.
True. I think Samuel L. Jackson is just doing a masterclass online, and I think he said almost those exact words.
Well, he is a phenomenal actor. I just watched that new movie on Netflix, The Unicorn Store. That
I haven't
Brie
checked
Larson
it out yet.
And Captain Marvel and Samuel Jackson. It was a strange one. It definitely was very unique. It kind of went exactly where I thought it would when I started watching the movie, but it was a journey to get there.
Don't you think that's how Netflix television is going nowadays? Where in the way of not really having to sit within the borders of all these genres. You can be a horror movie, but you can be a horror, thriller, sci-fi comedy, and fit in more niche markets where before in regular television it was very much if you weren't a straight line shot, you're not making it on TV. Exactly.
Well, especially back when the era of television was so within its borders, it had to be. Their networks, their programming had specific insights into what kind of content their users wanted to see and when they wanted to see it, which essentially hasn't changed, but it's in such a broader network now that media is now online, and it's a broader audience that know what they want when they want to watch it. And that's kind of where, Netflix and Amazon Prime and these streaming sites come into play, because it's gotten more demanding as the genres have opened up and become more broad. On a accepted sociable whole. Yeah,
the convergences of something like Sabrina or Riverdale.
I was going to say Riverdale.
Where you have these reimaginings of some of the classic characters, but in such a different setting that you're cross-boundarying genres. And nostalgia.
It's neat. It's very cool to see, some of these older ideas reborn, which is kind of how I see it. It's not exactly like redoing old franchises, because if you're redoing them, then you'd be doing the same thing again and trying to make it better. And it's not the same thing again. It's something completely different with similar characters or the same characters in some cases, like Riverdale, it being, Archie.
Yeah.
But when was there ever, this big Archie television show cartoon craze? There wasn't.
Yeah.
And they didn't take it in that route either. They could have done, you know, a 50s throwback or whichever year it was released, and done like a straight up, even Steven Universe style animated cartoon.
No touching.
Archie, but they didn't. They reinvented it.
Exactly. So last question I'll leave you with here. If you had the choice, well, not the choice, let's say it was thrust upon you, would you rather to be a YouTube celebrity star with, let's say, 15 million subs, so top of the tier, or would you rather be a Netflix star in the lines of Jughead from Riverdale or
Sprouse? Well, that's a hard one because he was a Disney Channel star. Like,
well,
he was
that's the thing. So like have a very have a very long acquainted but be recognized. Even something like Sam and Dean from Supernatural, where they've been acting for years, but they're a defining role.
Yeah. So essentially, be somebody who's, you know, like a vlog star versus somebody who's more of like a TV film actor.
Yeah, I mean, but with the YouTube, you have more of an open platform.
That's
you
true.
could be a gamer.
A YouTube star could be literally anything,
and you could be changing. I mean, Felix changed his platform from being gaming all the way to now he just does his random videos, and he's still PewDiePie still number one, just passed by Theater Series I think last week.
It's true, though. I do find that YouTube stars have a harder time changing their platform.
Yes, I mean, I think Felix is one of the only biggest successes that I've seen of it.
And yet, you know, all the PewDiePie stories that are out there, all the tabloid stories as well as the regular news stories, and then
you
terrorists
have things
using his name.
Yeah, but you have things like Gabby, Liza, Koshi, or like a bunch of these other YouTubers that are able to have more of a reach than just on the platform.
Well, I think something that could be really cool is what the actress who created Miranda Sings did. And she went cross-platform. She started as this YouTube sensation who was pretty much a joke, like a practical joke on the internet, that convinced people like to believe that she was who she was, only to later come out and say that she was acting the entire time and the entire thing is made up, and get a Netflix, you know, sensation of a show to come out about that. Yeah. Like, that kind of opportunity is really cool, and one that she created for herself and opened up doors for people to do in the future.
Well, and that's the one thing I like about the YouTube platform is it's less defined, so the capabilities and the opportunities are more endless, I find, than if you've hit the top of Netflix and you either get another big show or you have to do something else.
It's a hard choice to make. I mean, at the end of the day, what I want in my career is to be able to, you know, connect with people and reach out to people. And YouTube is a platform that you can create content on, as well as actively reach out to people at the same time through the comment section and your subscriber lists and all of that sort of thing. So, you know, if I had to pick one or the other, it would probably be, you know, a YouTube sensation or whatever you called it, just because you're able to connect with that audience a little bit more on a personal level. And it does currently have the opportunities. I know YouTube Red, it can be a little controversial as a topic, you know, especially with all these other streaming services out there. But YouTube has that opportunity where it doesn't have that cap. You can create any kind of content, even if you're making like movies and films and TV shows. You can put that on YouTube and, you know, still have that streaming platform in your audience and be able to reach them.
And even lately, a lot of YouTubers are going on physical tour. Yes. Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, Game Grumps, everyone's going on tour of the country, countries all around the world, and they'll be playing comedy clubs, they'll be playing stadiums, well, not they'll be playing theaters, and they'll go and sell out a theater, and you'll have a night of, it's basically just improv with a lot of these people. They'll have small sketches and improv, so they're taking their because that's all game commentary is for a lot of them. It's just improving, making jokes on the spot of what it is. So they're leaping in head first into sketch comedy.
You know, a personality on camera.
And it's been really cool seeing Markiplier make sketch comedy, because he's always apparently wanted to do this forever, but being roped into a genre, and then being able just to book a theater show doing sketch comedy with him and 6 of his buds.
Yeah.
He said it was just a blast.
Oh, and it would be. I know with my group of actor friends, that would just be nothing but fun.
Yeah.
I'd love to do that.
Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to before we end this?
I mean, just all my awesome friends and my bandmates, especially, because they're all cool dudes. I mean, you're one of them. So, hey, James, give a shout out to you. And my son, Eli, here, our son, who's hanging out in his Batman shirt, and my fiance and all that cool stuff. So, love you, Prev. And, just all the listeners, support the scene. Because,
awesome.
Support the scene is what we should all be doing.
All right. Well, if you're interested in coming and chatting with me on the couch, as I said last time with Scott, just feel free to comment down below or send us a message. And we've got this cool festival coming up, but we'll give you guys some more details on that later. All right. Catch you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.